Welcome to this year's TCEA Mindstorms Robotic Challenge for 2017-2018, Mastering Mars. Yes, we've set the playing field up like Mars, but you as the referee will need to know how to measure the robot start configuration first. The robot must touch the south wall and either the west or the east wall as well. Once it's touching both walls and well within the plane of the inner board, you take your ruler and you measure your 12 by 12 by 12 imaginary cube. The students don't touch the robot after that except to start for the competition. There is no safe place for it to return back to, so every time there is a touch penalty, just like last year, anytime they touch it, it has to start in the same starting configuration, either against the west wall or the east wall, and touching the south wall. This year you will also have to measure an alien life form. If the team chooses to have an alien life form, it must fit underneath a standard 3-ounce Dixie bathroom cup. Once it's been measured on the robot within the 12 by 12, intermediate field setup is as you see. We have the water vapor on the 2 water vapor marks, which are the cotton balls. We have 2 shims with the wide sides touching, set as evenly as you can between these 3 marks that are in the satellite area, satellite tower area. Over here, we have our Dixie cup with our ice, which is a standard Lego inside. It is taped evenly centered along this line here on the outside of the frame, with the top of the frame even with the top of the cup. I use double-sided duct tape to tape it on there. Works very well. You also will have soil samples. Radioactive is red, non-radioactive is black. They are in stacks of 4 radioactive, 4 non-radioactive, and 4 radioactive. They can be in any order you choose, centered on the 6th, 7th, and 8th lava tubes. You can change it up between matches, or you can set it and leave it. That's your call as a referee. That's the setup for the intermediate board. Play, once it starts, all of the scoring is done after the 2-minute time frame except for one task. That has to do with the alien life form. The alien life form is placed from the opposite team into your alien life form area. If it's well within this area at 1 minute, you just let it ride. If it breaks the plane of the alien life form area, then you need to remove it as the referee and it is not scoreable. That happens at the 1 minute mark. The rest of the scoring I'm going to talk about happens once play is complete. The first task that the teams are asked to do has to do with the non-radioactive soil samples. The task is to move the non-radioactive soil samples into the base camp. They must be completely within base camp and not breaking the plane of base camp. So as long as they are well within, points are awarded. If they are touching that line or breaking the plane or outside, points are not awarded. If, by some chance, they bring radioactive soil samples over, they can be located anywhere outside of base camp and be just fine. If they break the plane to base camp or are inside base camp, there is a penalty awarded. Next on the score sheet has to do with the water vapor. The water vapor is the cotton balls. They need to be moved into base camp. Again, they must be completely within base camp. If they break the plane, no points are awarded. Ice. They will be asked to drill for ice from under the lava tubes. We're simulating it this year with this Dixie cup on the outside. Inside will be 1 standard Lego piece. They must remove it and place it within base camp. Again, cannot break the plane of base camp. One of the questions that's been asked is what would happen if they accidentally remove the Dixie cup from the frame. If that happens during play, it is out of the game. So they need to be very careful when drilling for ice, because if they cause a cave-in or cause this cup to become detached and fall to the floor, it would be removed from play. Once again, this year, the score sheet has a line across it where if the team does not have a bill of materials, they can't have any of the points beneath that line. They provide you with the bill of materials, then they are eligible for the satellite tower and the alien life form points. The satellite tower this year has to be placed within the satellite tower area and cannot break the plane of this inner circle, and it must be taller than 12 inches measured from the mat. Now the alien life form. The alien life form, if by chance the alien life form is not in the alien life form area for whatever reason, you will score the team 50 points, just like it had been there and they had moved it. I don't want them penalized if the other team doesn't put an alien life form in here. However, if there's an alien life form in here and it's scoreable for the other team, this team, in order to get 50 more points, must move it to touch the south wall. It can touch the south wall, but cannot touch base camp. If it breaks the plane of base camp, no points awarded. But if it's touching the south wall, there's 50 points awarded. That brings us to the mystery task. The mystery task is to level the playing field. It is given to the students between rounds 1 and rounds 2. It has to be the first task that they attempt in round 2 and round 3. It'll be an easy programming task. I've given you an example in the manual of having the robot come from the starting position, do a 360 turn, and then go about its business of completing the other tasks. This is the advanced setup for Mastering Mars. You have 2 shims in the middle, the wide parts together, centered between these 3 marks in the satellite tower area. You also have 2 shims with the widest parts touching that start at the alien life form area and run along the line towards this water vapor mark. 2 water vapors, which are cotton balls, placed on these marks here. You have radioactive and non-radioactive soil samples. You have 2 stacks with non-radioactive soil samples on top of radioactive soil samples, and 1 set of 4 radioactive soil samples. Now these can be set in any order you choose as a referee on lava tubes 6, 7, and 8 from the alien life form area. Lastly, we have ice located under the lava tubes in the form of standard Lego bricks, 3 of them in a standard Dixie cup, which is taped to the outside of the board, centered on this line here. I've used double-sided duct tape, and the Legos are in there in any configuration. The first task on the score sheet for the advanced is the soil samples. The idea is that they move the non-radioactive soil samples into base camp, but not the radioactive soil samples. And no radioactive soil samples are present in base camp. They can be close to, but the minute they cross that plane and are considered in base camp, there's a penalty assessed for making base camp radioactive. That's the soil samples. The water vapor in the form of cotton balls must be moved to the base camp fully within the base camp. They cannot break the plane of base camp to have points awarded. Just like last year, there's a thick line across the score sheet. If the team does not provide you with a bill of materials or bomb, they are not allowed to have any points underneath that thick line. The first task under that line is the satellite tower. The satellite tower this year must be within the satellite tower area, cannot break the plane of this thick black line, and it must be measured taller than 12 inches from the mat. A little different than last year. Then comes the alien life form. This is my favorite part of the whole challenge. The opposite team will set an alien life form in your alien life form area within the first minute. If it is not set there within the first minute, don't worry about it. If it's set there within the second minute, you'll need to pick it up and remove it from play. However, if it's scoreable after the first minute, you leave it and let play resume. It must not break the plane of any of the black lines that denote this alien life form area. So if your team places an alien life form on the other team's board within that first minute and it's scoreable, that's 50 points. But now, what do they do with the other team's alien life form? They can get additional points if they can move it down here to touch the south wall. It must touch the south wall but not touch base camp or break the plane of the black line that outlines the base camp. That is the typical scoring. Now that brings us to the mystery task. The mystery task is given to the teams between rounds 1 and round 2. I've given you an example in the manual of something simple, such as the robot starts and then does a 360 turn before it does any other task on the board. The mystery task must be the first task attempted in round 2 and round 3. If they don't attempt it, there is a penalty. If they attempt it and not successful, no points are taken away. This task will be unknown to any judges until the day of the competition. I hope you have as much fun with this challenge as I had making it. If you have questions after watching the video, please go to the TCEA forum. I'll answer the questions as quick as I can. I can't wait to see you at state. I hope you have as much fun with this as I did making it. However, if you have questions, please go to the forum and ask questions, but I'll answer them as quickly as I can. Thank you.